Hi. Today we have with us Yash Bhamare. Is that pronounced well?
Yep, it is. Yeah.
It is. Okay, so Yash is visiting, I would say, or being here for long term for um, a position as a program manager and then becoming a official program manager like when you graduate, correct?
Yeah, I think that's what I'd like to do. The role that I'm doing right now is I'm actually doing an internship
Yeah.
as a program manager intern, and hopefully I can translate that to a full time position.
Is that you think you made the right choice as a profession?
That's a tough question.
Oh, you don't like?
Especially,
Do you like it or you don't?
I know I like it. I like
Oh,
it.
you do like it.
No,
Okay,
like as
as
like
as an occupation.
oh yeah, I love it because so essentially I would say as I've grown up, I kind of have two areas that I'm very into.
Yeah,
One is like the STEM field, which is like math, science, engineering,
yeah.
the technical aspects of. I'm especially interested in data analytics,
Hmm.
and the other side is helping people. I've always enjoyed working with people, motivating people, leading people. So I first thought, what could I do to kind of combine both of those things? And I thought program management was a good fit. Although I don't get to do some of the more technical things on a day-to-day basis, I still
Oh,
get to
to
work with.
look at what other people are doing.
Right, right,
Yeah, so it's important for you to understand what they are doing in order to manage them.
exactly. Yep.
Okay. And since you are pretty young, do you feel, do you have like the maturity to lead a group of people?
In terms of maturity, I mean, I would say that's something that's always evolving.
Yeah.
I'm young in my career. There's still the things that I don't understand and things that happen on a day-to-day basis. Just understanding people, working with them, because I haven't faced so many different personalities
Oh.
and roles on a day-to-day basis. So that's kind of the challenge that I face. I think
Mm.
that's just going to come with experience. So yes, I still am lacking kind of that experience in understanding people, but I hope to kind of develop that over the years, and I've kind of built this foundation for myself that I can kind of build off of.
Okay. Do
Yeah.
you think you need maybe, did you take maybe a general psychology class? Is that part of your curriculum to learn psychology with people, interaction with people?
Um, it isn't like not specifically psychology, but there's courses about organizational design
Yeah.
and how people are fit into an organization, their roles and responsibilities, how you're supposed to kind of, if for example, specifically facilitate meetings on a day-to-day basis, how you kind of approach people in meetings, how you question them, how you kind of encourage them to speak up, because the thing that I've noticed with especially software engineers is that they tend to kind of be on the shyer side, so you need to kind of push
You
them.
gotta open them up.
Exactly, exactly.
And what's the technique to open them up?
I mean, there's a whole
Different
slew of
way.
things. Yeah, there's
Different way, like have lunch
thousands
with
of
them or have a coffee with them,
exactly.
get them to relax, maybe.
Yeah, so like one of the things I like to do is whenever I have a one-on-one with someone, instead
Yeah.
of taking them to a closed room in a meeting room, I'll go
With
on a walk.
intimidating, yeah.
I'll go on a walk with them, just to kind of understand how they're doing and stuff like that.
Yeah. You've done that
Yeah,
before?
yeah. Like this week, I went on a walk because it was my first week at work, and I wanted to kind of get to know all the engineers that I'm working with. So I said,
So
let's.
you subbing for a program manager right now?
I'm actually working as underneath a program manager as a program manager intern right now.
Oh, so he lets you do this kind of
She,
work.
yeah,
Oh, she lets you do that kind of work.
right, yeah. She allows me the autonomy to kind of work how I want to work, and because if she kind of opposes her views on how I should do things, it's not
It's
gonna
not
allow
gonna
me to do how I want
how
to do
you
things.
think it should be
Yeah.
done. Yeah, it's probably the same way in Canada as here, is it?
The role
The role of program manager is the same in Canada, or is it taught differently?
So not just in Canada, that role actually varies a lot even here from
Yeah,
company to company.
yeah,
So some companies have the role program manager,
yeah,
where it's kind of split up into two areas, where it's like a product side where you
yeah,
have to kind of evolve and take this product and take this feature and implement it,
yeah,
and work with the engineers to do that.
yeah,
And then the other side is working on the project side,
yeah,
uh, timeline wise, like
yeah.
getting it done from like getting it done and executed.
Okay,
So right now my role is kind of more on the project side of things, kind of executing the project and ensuring that the team is operating as efficiently as possible.
okay. So this is kind of a new profession that's developing in the modern world, I would say.
Hmm.
Those jobs did not exist maybe 20 years ago or maybe 50 years ago. But this idea of creating projects is a modern idea. And I heard that people just create projects. Do you know how they come up with the project?
In today's day, it's a lot of innovation. People, depending on the scale, the scope of the project, it depends on what customers' needs are.
Oh,
Usually, what Thousand Eyes, the company that I work for, what they do is they look at what pain points the customers are facing on a day-to-day basis
mm-hmm.
and understand what their needs are and kind of translate those needs to a project that a team can then work on.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's awesome. So who makes, at what point does the company decide this is worthy of a project to allocate so much resources and so much money to it? Because you got to pay also the people, right?
Right.
so so how do you make that decision?
And that's a really good point because like investing into that is a huge time commitment,
Yeah. Is
money
it worth it?
commitment.
Is it
Yeah.
worth it? Is it what is the return on the project,
Right.
right? So how do you then measure that?
So a lot of companies these days try and make data driven decisions. They kind of look at their customers and their landscape and look at the market that they have control of.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, we have a vision now to kind of expand our market and kind of reach out to X, Y, and Z customers while still keeping true to the customers that they already have.
Oh.
And then from there, they'll kind of run a lot of like data analytics, kind of understand like, okay, it's not just one customer facing this specific problem, it's thousands of customers.
Oh.
So
Okay.
now if so many customers need this, you can profit off of this. And profitability is a huge factor in investing resources.
So and then they create the project,
Yeah.
and so that's for. I assume you work for a medium-sized company right now.
Yeah, I would say it's at about 300 employees worldwide.
Yeah.
So they have offices in New York.
So they're still developing and creating projects.
Yep. There's project across all of engineering.
Mm-hmm. So how do you know if that project is not happening also in New York? I mean, in Europe, because sometime I heard sometime the same project is happening at different locations.
Like within the same company.
Yeah.
The executive staff kind of takes
Look at the
control of that.
different project and see if it's not a duplicate.
Yeah, because every team there's 8 engineering teams at
Yeah.
Thousand Eyes.
Yeah.
Each engineering team has a team vision, a charter,
Yeah.
and a set of things that make up the identity of the team. So this
Oh.
is what the team is responsible for within the product that we provide,
Yeah.
and this is what we're gonna do. So for example, if you're running a website,
Yeah.
my team is specifically responsible for the search bar.
Ah.
So I'm not going to touch anything else. That is my responsibility. Everything on that is just me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So you assign each little piece of the project to an engineer.
Right. To not an engineer team.
Oh, just for the search bar, you have a whole team.
Yeah. And for like big companies like Instagram, Facebook, it's even
It's
smaller
huge.
things like
Oh.
the comment section will be an entire team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it needs to be totally accessible and
Yeah.
easy to use.
Yeah.
So, at what point do you decide to do a test on whatever you completed?
A test.
I mean, after you did the project, maybe 3 or 4 months,
Yeah.
you got to test it on the real
Uh-huh.
people.
Right. So that's a good question. What we do at Thousand Eyes, we're kind of trying to work towards this, is we're working towards an agile methodology of building software and finishing and completing projects.
Yeah.
So agile is basically instead of writing the code, finishing it, and then testing it,
Yeah.
we kind of test as we go.
Oh, I
So
see.
so we'll do a little piece and then we'll ship it out into give it to customers,
To
test
the-
it out,
Yeah.
and see if it works, and then we'll do the next piece. So it's testing as we go, and we'll make sure that it's verified and everything at every
And it's
iteration.
smooth, and it's and the customer like it. Do you ask customers? Do you ask the customers' opinion or survey, or or you just use it yourself, see if it works?
So ideally, like you would have like something like a review with the customer to go over like this is what we worked on.
Like a review panel.
Yeah, like kind of engage them in there. But I don't know if Thousand Eyes does that right now and how they kind of interact with the
What do they
customers.
sell?
So Thousand Eyes essentially sells a product to other software companies.
Ah,
So it's a
okay.
B2C, a business to consumer type of. It's not a B2C, it's a B2B. So business to
B2B, okay, so they like a subcontractor.
right. So they provide a vision into your network. So for example, when you sit down in the morning and open up your computer, how does the moment you search something on the computer get from wherever it's coming from to your computer? So they provide you visibility into your entire internet network
Yeah.
and show you where things are slow, fast, and all these different metrics. And companies then use this because Facebook, for example, has thousands of people using their network. So now you want to see like where things are slow, fast, and kind of work with those. So that's what Thousand Eyes provides. It's a monitoring tool.
Yeah, well, Facebook is more like billion.
Yeah, a billion. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So it's a huge undertaking of managing all these people, right?
right.
Do you also work on managing different languages or no?
Languages and
Oh, no, no, because it's just software you work on.
yeah,
So it's all code.
yep.
So you don't have to worry about whether it's in English or Indian or
No,
no, it's totally
yeah,
unified coding.
yeah,
Okay, but when you send it to the customer, there's an explanation of what you did
right.
in English.
Yeah, there's
So
yep,
because he doesn't understand code, right?
yeah,
So you tell him, "Oh, we speed up on this feature and we fixed that feature and we added that feature and we tested it and it's working."
right, exactly, just like that. And we'd kind of keep like the technical details away from the customer.
Yeah, because they don't want to get
They don't care about
frustrated.
that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So your job will be each project is different months, different length, I would say. Some are 4 months and some could take about a year.
right.
So the one you're working on now is 4 months?
So it's not necessarily that I'm working on a project.
Oh,
It's that the team is working on whatever project that they have.
okay.
So I'm actually helping them with their processes and helping them kind of improve and become more efficient on a day-to-day basis, on a month-to-month basis, on a quarter-to-quarter basis. So my job is kind of to work with these teams, not to tell them that this is the project you're working on,
Oh,
but to kind of help them through the project. The project or the next feature that they're working on is kind of given by the product manager. So that's the person who provides that information. I want to make sure that they've prioritized everything like according to what the product manager says, and everything is prioritized, and then they're able to get done the things that they commit to on a week-to-week, quarter-to-quarter basis. Right.
so your only job is to your job, program manager, is to only facilitate the interaction within the team.
Exactly. Yeah. So I facilitate the interaction within the team. So I work at a team level, I work at an across the teams level, and then I work at the organization level. So at the team level, ideally what we want to do is get teams working consistently so we can kind of effectively predict when they'll be able to finish something. And then we can kind of look at this as an organization and be like, you know what, now we know what teams are able to complete what in what time span. Now we can kind of fill in different projects at different times to create the most business value.
Okay, so if one team member is faster than another team member,
Uh-huh.
then you'll give him more work.
Not necessarily. It's never looked at on an individual level. It's always looked at a team by team level.
Okay.
So you could say that, oh, this team is able to provide this feature within this time, but this team is saying, you know what, we don't have enough time. We won't be able to be done this by this time. So then, as the business, you make that decision. Let's put our resources into this project and get this done because at least this will be done.
Okay, but since you're working with a budget, it has to be done by a certain time.
It could be two things. So one, it could be fixed date, so they have to finish it by a certain time, or it could be fixed scope, which means we have to get this much of it done.
Oh,
So
and then if it's not finished, you add money to it.
so if something doesn't finish when you expect it to, which happens all the time,
Yeah.
we we'll kind of adapt to the situation. That's when you have to be kind of flexible and see what happens. If a team isn't able to completely finish a like a feature by a certain time, then we'll be like, okay, let's
Add 3 months.
we could either do that, or we could make it like, let's tell the customers that this is a beta version, and we know that some parts of it may not be working, but this is a version that we can ship out to you and get going, just so you can kind of start using it.
Oh, okay.
Right. So
And then you will bill him more money to finish the project. The customer.
I mean, the customers already probably paid this much amount. They don't pay essentially for the project. They would pay for the product itself.
Mm.
And
Okay, so you give them an idea of how much it's going to cost.
yeah, exactly.
But you, as a program manager, are you concerned about time frames?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I'd like to. It's always kind of something that we have to look at. We have to understand when things are going to be finished and why they're going to take longer than expected, and make decisions on a day-to-day basis based on time frames.
Okay, to go back to my initial question, in a team,
Mm-hmm.
you have some people who code very fast, and some people are slower,
Mm-hmm.
and some people who are medium,
Right.
or average. So how do you? So if someone can do the work in 2 hours that another person take 8 to 16 hours to complete,
Mm-hmm.
so are you gonna let the person rest the rest of the time, or you give him other project, so if he's fast?
Right. I think that's a great question. And that's what this whole agile methodology, or more specifically Scrum, helps
Yeah.
with.
Yeah.
That's what it's called, Scrum. So basically, if someone is more experienced on the team, which always is the case, there's always a technical lead on the team who's able to complete tickets, or
Real quick.
right. So they're able to finish things faster than others.
Yeah.
The way we kind of look at it is that, for example, if you were to look at a basketball team,
Yeah.
on a basketball team, there's always a star player.
Oh yeah. He can pick up things real fast.
Exactly. So he's able to kind of dominate the game. He's able to help the teammates out.
Yeah.
So the way we kind of do that is that we know that developer, or whoever exists, maybe one of them, two of them.
Yeah.
But the way we always look at it is, we'll never like point that out. We'll always work in a team setting.
Oh, okay.
The team is always kind of pushing towards some goal that they have to finish, and they will try and get there on a week to week basis. So every week, the team in itself will self-organize and set a goal. We need to finish this. And so we don't even take into account that, oh, this person is able to do more or less. That's like kind of subconsciously taken into account, because as the team's the rate at which the team's able to complete work is higher, because the person that contributes more is able to do more, right?
Yeah.
So when they start working, they don't say like, you're gonna do this much work because you know more. It's you pick off. You have like a set of work that you've committed to as a team.
Yeah.
Everyone just picks off the top and does whatever's left. Once that's done, you pick up the next thing.
Oh, okay. So let's say you have a team of 10 coders.
Right.
There's one that's really fast. Is he the team leader kind of thing?
If he's really fast, I mean, technical lead in terms of responsibilities and like getting that role, it really depends. It depends on how they're able to work together with the team.
Oh, or
their
help the
leadership.
other members of
Exactly.
the team?
And their understanding and their contribution and stuff like that. So it really varies. It's not necessarily the person who contributes the most.
Okay, well, as a team, do they work in the same room? No.
Oh yeah, they're co-located.
They
They're in the same room, yeah.
Yeah, so they're in front of their computers coding,
Yeah.
and then one is done. Can he take the rest of the day off? No.
No,
I
he
mean,
can't.
he can't. He has to
No.
keep working.
Yeah, because when you're done your work, or like your task,
Yeah.
there's something else in something that we call the backlog.
Oh, he
So
can pick up
You
the
pick
next
up the next
task.
thing in the backlog and you work on that.
Oh.
Yeah.
So some things he might be very familiar with, and something he might be slower at.
Hmm.
And the project manager, is that the guy who gives the project to the team? He's gonna kind of pick up who has strength in certain areas.
So the way we like to build engineering teams is that we try and make them cross-functional,
Yeah.
which means everyone can do anything.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So we try, but again, as much as that's the idealistic state, that's
Oh.
not realistic.
Okay.
So there's cases where someone is an expert in this, someone is not. So, but we try and, as program managers, create this culture of cross-pollinating knowledge within team members. So sometimes we'll say, you know what, just because you're not as experienced and you may take longer at this task, take it on, and then have someone else help you with this task who is more experienced, and then
Later.
right. So then that kind of builds up that person's knowledge, and over time, the team is able to become cross-functional.
Okay. So there's never an instance when one team member will slow down everybody.
It's tough to say. That does happen. I have seen that happen, but you try and avoid that because you always try and say, you know what, as a team, what are we doing to improve ourselves? We'll never point out that, oh, this is the person.
This is the person. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So you gotta help that person.
Yeah.
All right. And when you hire based on their knowledge, not on their speed.
Yeah, like knowledge, speed, they're kind of intertwined. If you're able to understand, if you know what you're building and the specific thing, then you're able to kind of do it faster.
Is it true there's a website where they test the coders before they hire them?
Test coders.
The coders, to make sure they know how to code before they hire them.
So in terms of like interview process,
Yeah.
software engineers are interviewed in different mediums, different ways, depending
Yeah.
on the company.
Yeah.
So an example of a typical interview for a Facebook software engineering intern
Yeah.
is usually like 3 rounds. So the first round, they will do a coding challenge. So you'll be given a computer, or you can bring your own.
And code something.
Right. So they'll give you a problem to solve, and you gotta solve the problem.
Okay.
And then the second will be like you'll meet with the dev team lead, the engineers, and stuff like that.
Okay. So first, the technical knowledge is very important.
Right. 100%.
100%. But in your case, since you are only a program manager, they didn't test you, did they?
No.
Because your job is more like the guy who makes everything smooth
Right.
and friendly and pleasant.
Right.
Because it's hard to work in the same room with the other people.
Yeah.
Because where I go to work, sometimes I see 4 people in a small room. I say, my God, I wouldn't be able to do it because I would go crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but some people are just tough enough to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice, at least in our office, is like we have an open space.
Oh, you
So
can
like
move
everyone's
around a little bit.
Yeah, like I'll go work in the kitchen area and on the couches. Even the team members do that. Like we have the freedom to
Oh, yeah,
work
they don't
wherever.
have to sit
Yeah.
at the
But our
cubicle.
desks are we don't have cubicles. We have like open desks.
Open desk goes
Yeah.
on. So, yeah, okay.
It's not too bad.
But if you need a little bit of quiet, you can go to the kitchen.
Yeah, yeah. Or even go into a room by yourself if you really want.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because in a team, not every day you're in the best of moods, right?
Yeah.
Because some days you wake up in the best of moods, the best of health, the best of
Yeah.
everything. But one day you wake up, you're not totally all there, but you still show up for work and you need maybe a little bit more space and you may be irritable or whatever.
Yeah.
So program manager would need to identify the person who needs quiet or something like that. Was that your job, or they will just ask for it?
You know what? That's an excellent point. I think that can be my job. I can help the team in terms of anything, whether that's managing their entire project and making sure that they're able to predict,
Yeah.
or if their keyboard isn't working and they need help with the replacement of keyboard and it's just not happening, or even helping them find a room. Like, it's everything from a day-to-day basis to like a larger, higher level basis.
So solve every little problems.
Yeah.
Is your job.
Yeah, outside this actual software coding part.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the program manager is responsible that everything runs smoothly, whether it's on the hardware part, that, like you say, something breaks down, or whether it's on the social part, or whether it's on the health part, or whether somebody needs to take 2 hours off to go to the dentist, or whatever. Your job is to say, okay, go to the dentist, but come back, work a couple more hours.
Yeah.
You make the environment flexible for him or her, whatever. And do you also make sure that there's compatibility, or that's not your job?
Well, just to kind of, because the roles that you highlighted are kind of 2-3 different roles, because
Yeah.
there's a role of engineering manager
Yeah.
who manages the engineers,
Yeah.
who kind of takes care of like hours and pay and all that stuff, and like actually evaluates performance.
Yeah.
But as the program manager, you don't care about that stuff. You want to make sure that the developers and engineers are happy and performing at their best, and we are able to kind of meet the needs of the business and we are working the best way possible. That's kind of my job. So I'm not actually directly managing software engineers. I am there managing the program.
The whole thing.
Yeah. So the direct responsibility of managing the engineers is the engineering managers.
Now, what if somebody likes to work with music and another person likes to work quiet and another person is flexible? How do you identify the different productivity state of mind that each person has? Some people like noise around and some people like quiet.
I think because there's already so much to do on a day-to-day basis, we kind of overlook these things,
Yeah.
like just even thinking about that. But I think as we move forward, we should look at these things, like understanding how each person works, what they like to do, what they like, when they
Or
like
they
to
can
work.
put music with their
Yeah,
headphones.
yeah. So they can do all that.
Oh.
They have the flexibility to do all that. So every engineer is like should feel confident enough and free enough to be able to work in any way they want. So some engineers even take one day from home or work from home day. So they work from home.
Okay, if they feel it's more comfortable for
Right.
them.
Yeah.
Okay, but they're allowed to listen to music if they want to.
hmm
Okay, yeah, because I noticed some people are very productive with music
Yeah.
because it keeps them
Yeah.
up and running and energized. Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you? Because some people can fall asleep at their desk with complete silence, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. I mean, back in the like when I first started my internship, I used to right after I ate lunch, I used to be so full that I was ready to.
doze off.
I was ready to
Yeah,
call it a day.
it's true after a heavy lunch, the natural state of the body is to sleep.
Nap. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's better to take a light lunch actually and then eat have or small little snacks after.
Yeah.
So that you're not so heavy that you need to go. There, some companies actually do have nap little rooms.
Pods. Yeah.
For pods.
Which
like,
would be amazing. I might
But-
overuse it.
you may, but there is a study that said that if you take 15-minute nap, you're actually more productive after.
Okay.
And
I need to.
It is recommended.
That's amazing. I might actually start doing that.
Yeah. No, not just you. Also, the other people you work with, if they do need a little rest, they can take
Yeah.
it. But they're not like 9 to 5 workers where they take 15 minutes exactly after 2 hours. They have the flexibility.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So because they're engineers, they're a little bit more flexible.
Yeah,
with their-
they have the flexibility to work, come in whenever they want. I'm sure nobody comes in super early because they're not forced to. They leave when they want. You don't really see anyone being forced to stay overtime, anything like that, and take breaks exactly at these times.
Yeah, so yeah, they're given a little bit of, comfort.
Exactly.
Comfort and flexibility.
Yeah.
And also some people might be single and some people might have families to like pick up the kid after 3 or something. But those are consideration for you as a program manager. You got to check if the person has obligation at certain times and he wants to come back later or since they have flexibility, they don't even need to ask you,
They
right?
don't, exactly.
They don't even need to ask you.
Exactly.
Okay. So you're on the floor and you're the guy who keeps the family happy, right?
Yeah.
So what do you do? Do you also provide a little bit of a drink or a snack or something?
I mean, in terms of organizing socials, one of the things that we like to do is anything that we implement or think of, we try and get the team to do it.
Oh, not you. Okay.
Exactly. So we will, because in the whole like agile framework, the team is self-organizing and they don't necessarily have managers telling them what to do.
Oh.
So anytime we have ideas, we'll be like, we think you should do this. I won't sit here and be like, you need to do this.
Oh, okay.
So like say I'm like, you know what, it might be a good idea for us to have a social. I'll suggest it in a meeting. I'll say, hey, who wants to organize a social for us, because we finished this product on time and we got it done, and it was successful. And so someone will put their hand up and they'll be like, you know what, I'm down to set up a date for us to go get a drink, or
Bring a pizza over.
exactly. Yeah.
And that person will do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you are the one with the budget to say yes to that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like things like socials and stuff like that. I don't really do.
There's another manager for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so they go ask the manager for a
Exactly.
little money.
I mean, I could go talk to them. They don't need to do that. I could go do that, but
Yeah.
it's never really a problem.
So you have been a program manager, you say, for 4 months before.
Well, similar position, not necessarily a manager. I was a agile coach. I was kind of working with individual teams at a team level instead of also a higher level.
Yeah.
So as an agile coach, you're kind of really focused on implementing that agile framework. It's very, let's see if the teams are able to do these different things that agile prescribes. And I was working with two different teams, kind of doing the same sort of thing, working with them on a day-to-day basis, working with the product manager, working with the engineering manager. So very similar roles, but this one just a lot more responsibility because this organization is scaling up and they just need more help.
Okay. So at the end of your 4 months, they might keep you full time.
I hope so. That's the plan.
That could happen. That could happen. So you're the second one to the same company, correct?
This is my second. This is my first one to this company. So
Oh,
yeah.
it's not the previous one.
No, a different company.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So it's one or the two that you did an internship with that might hire you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. So you're also, as a manager, the peacemaker kind of thing, if there is an argument or.
Yeah, for sure. I if there's any conflicts or anything like that, the issue with that is I have to get a certain level of comfortability with each of the team members. Like they have to be comfortable approaching me
Of course.
with that sort of thing. So just getting to that level can be difficult. But once I'm there, for sure, like I'm there to
They'll
help.
talk to you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta manage different personality, right?
Exactly.
The people who like to be loud and the people who like to be quiet.
Exactly.
Okay, and you say, okay, this person is outspoken, he likes to unload, and the other person just keep it to himself or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, and then in terms of working with different men, women, do you place them at different desks or they decide where they want to sit?
Well, desks are kind of near your team, so whichever desk is available near your team, but it doesn't really matter.
No, they decide.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the product manager,
Mm-hmm.
he has to make sure the product gets finished, and then the program manager?
So, good question. That's a good question. So product managers are really focused on delivering to the customer and
The
meeting
pro-
their needs, the
oh,
product.
the product.
So like the feature, making sure that we are we are delivering the absolute best product to the customer, and we are getting out as much as possible.
Oh,
So usually the product manager is the type of person to push, work, to get this, and this done because they want to satisfy customers and then their role is fulfilled because they've done a good job. But then as program managers, your stakeholder is the team. You want to make the team work as best as possible, as efficient as possible, and as happy as possible.
okay. And if you detect that you have done all these things and that you need one more person on the team to get it completed, you would go to the product manager and say, we need one extra coder on this project.
Not the product manager, the engineering manager.
Oh, okay. The
Yeah.
engineering manager will say, I need one more coder.
Or if we see that the resources is the issue, like the team isn't cross-functional or they're not able to produce,
As much as you thought.
yeah, and the missing component is an extra developer or engineer,
Yeah.
then I would kind of have that conversation with the engineering manager and be like, hey, let's talk about this. What do we think?
Bring
about
in
resources?
an extra person
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
get it done on time.
Yeah.
And you know the framework, right, as a program manager?
Yep.
So do you measure yourself week by week how it's moving along? That
Yep,
you don't
for
fall
sure.
back?
So there's a bunch of metrics that I don't really want to get into because
Yeah, it's very complicated, but you do measure week by week.
exactly. And the main metric that we measure by is called velocity. Velocity
Oh,
is the number of tasks that the team does at every iteration, which is per week or every 2 weeks. So we'll just see how much they're getting done and how much they committed to. So compare those two and see where the team is at.
see if you're gonna reach the time frame,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but initially, who decide how much it's gonna take?
How long the project will take?
Yeah, who decide how many people they'll need and how long is they gonna
Uh,
take, and what's your role, and what do you need to do to get to the goal?
so that's a big component of the program management agile coach, and there's another term for it, Scrum Master. So that's kind of where I fall into. That's a big component of my work as well.
Oh, okay.
I actually it should be all done by the engineers
Yeah.
and with the product manager
Yeah,
and the engineering manager kind of there as well.
but you look at the figures too.
Yeah. So what like they should be doing all this work, and it's actually called capacity planning to
Yeah.
see how much work we have to do to break it down and see how long it's going to take, and it's actually done at the beginning of the project to kind of break that down.
Map it out.
Exactly. So you map it out and you kind of break down as much. But the thing is, software development has a very high level of uncertainty, high degree of uncertainty. So you can't predict things beforehand. You just don't know.
You just test and test and test.
Well, the thing is when you actually start doing the work,
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, I forgot about this. I gotta add
There's
it
a
in
little
there.
bug here.
Exactly. Or like I gotta add this new thing in to do this.
Oh,
So there's always a high degree of uncertainty with software engineering. So planning is difficult, and that's kind of the challenge that I face as a agile coach, scrum master, program manager to help these teams with.
okay. Yeah, because uh, you probably learned coding as well yourself before you became a program manager. So there's some program that you have to debug and debug and debug, and some others that run smoothly.
Yeah.
So those that you constantly need to debug is because the other components are not working as you see it's fit,
Right.
right? So people don't have the same vision that you do, correct?
Right.
So the others, if you're on top of it, you're gonna tell the others, hey, we should do the whole thing this way, right?
Well, I never tell the team to technically implement
Okay.
because there's tech leads, engineers on the team. They know how to build it better than I do.
Okay.
So I don't really help with that.
Yeah.
But I kind of sit with them to understand what exactly they have to do, and then we'll be like, okay, we have to do this, this, and this, and they'll actually say like, we need to do this, this, and this, and then when they actually start doing it, they're like, oh, we didn't know that this was actually part of it as well, and that stuff happens all the time, and it's unavoidable in software development.
Okay. So no, because especially if it's part, like you say, of a super big project,
Uh huh.
you didn't think like the person who built the other project, or you didn't think like the guy who built all these little projects,
Yeah.
and how they're gonna connect together.
Yeah.
Correct? They gotta connect together. So there might be a bug there, and then the guy who oversees the whole thing is gonna detect it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but your job as your own little project, your mini project, or what do you call it, part of one super big project,
Yeah.
is to make sure that that part is functional and relate to the others,
Right.
to the circuitry.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so like in terms of dependencies, so
Yeah.
that's what that is like. If there's 2 or 3 projects happening at once that are all related,
Mm-hmm.
so now you need to make sure that this person gets done this thing before this part
one
because you need this for this.
to fork.
Exactly. So that again is a very big challenge in organizations that are scaling because it's tough to plan across teams like that
Mm.
and tough to like capacity plan.
And you see if this one is working fast. or not.
Exactly. So it's very difficult to do that. I don't think or even like some of the teams that I'm working with right now are fully like mature at doing that. So that's something that I'm even understanding how to do well.
Yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Because because you just started on this project
Exactly.
and you don't know what your project personally depends on which other project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And what if you're happen to arrive halfway and you say, "Oh my God, we forgot
Yeah.
that this other things need to work first," or how are we gonna connect to that other thing? Or,
Well, the software engineers are usually pretty good.
yeah.
Pretty good at figuring out which teams are dependent on what, and like this will have to be done for this to work. So
Mm-hmm.
they're usually pretty good with that.
They communicate.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's more of like, are you able to now do it when you said you do it,
Mm.
and get it done before this? So that's kind of what they're working towards. And so far, a lot of the projects that the teams at Thousand Eyes have worked at are usually just team related. So maybe one or two teams might be involved, but aside from that, they've done a pretty good job with kind of figuring it out and understanding what dependencies are involved.
And you sometimes have instance where a coder might be in another area, helping your team in San Francisco,
In another area.
and then like he's located at another location.
Um, yeah, that happens sometimes. I think that a lot of the teams at this company, at least, are all in the same location.
Hmm.
So they're all
So that's good
yeah, exactly. It's a huge advantage.
because you don't have to communicate online or
Yeah.
anything. You can just organize a 15 minutes a day
Exactly.
meet up.
But at the previous company I worked at, every team was distributed.
Oh, so they were at different places.
Yeah. So someone was in Toronto, someone was in Minnesota, someone was in Phoenix, someone.
So what did you have like a platform to meet?
Yeah, exactly. So every room had the company actually had a culture of this distributedness, and everyone was very conscious of it. So every room had a meeting, a video call set up.
Available.
Yeah. So Zoom is what we use in a lot of tech companies. Um, Set that up. Everyone gets on the video call. Everyone can see what's going on, and to be honest, the teams there were very mature and very understood the whole agile framework pretty well,
Yeah.
and they're able to work through the whole distributedness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have instance where say an engineer say I'm getting to more work than this other engineer. There's never a conflict about that. They all agree that the part of their job is just as equal as the guy next to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Usually that's never been a problem. If that is, it's pretty easy to solve. Kind of drive the team towards a more team-driven goal instead of an individual goal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so one will help the other.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. Team is called like team effort kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly.
Team game. Yes, so you probably need to, as a manager, need to watch basketball so you'll understand
Yeah.
teamwork.
Exactly. Yeah.
Are you working on? Did you ever work do sports in the team?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very involved in sports. I played basketball earlier. I've played tennis. I had the opportunity to play football. I play in intramural sports all the time at university and stuff like that. So I think a lot of my understanding of how to coach teams, how to work with teams has come from that, because
Okay.
as an athlete you're always competing, you're always understanding how to work together.
Okay, and you
Um,
help the other,
Exactly.
not because you want personally to win, but because you want the team to win.
Exactly, especially in a sport like basketball where you depend on four
Everybody.
other people. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's good. That's good that you got that training. And to go back to the beginning of our conversation, you were trained in Canada, but in here,
Hmm.
United States, it's the same mind. I mean, do you manage people differently in the United States, or is it the same?
In terms of culture, pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the
It's
people here.
not a different management style.
No, not across Canada to U.S. It's pretty much the same.
Yeah, because Canada learned from US and vice versa.
Exactly.
They meet.
Yeah.
They constantly hire each other, kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And there's some, even though some from Canada are French-speaking area and the others are English-speaking area,
Yeah.
they kind of understand each other.
Yeah. I feel like if you're in a more French-speaking area, it's a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
Definitely different management style. But I haven't worked in any setting where I've had to deal with that. I've mostly either worked in the Silicon Valley area or in Toronto, downtown Toronto.
Okay, so let's say your team now, are they all from different nationalities?
right?
They are.
Yeah. So like, there's people from a lot of people from India, a lot of people from like European countries, a lot of people from here, even Canada and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a diverse set of people at my company right now.
Okay, so you have to understand a little bit their culture, I
For sure.
assume.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but there's one thing that you might want to worry about is, are they allowed to discuss their compensation between each other?
They can feel free to do whatever they want. I mean, it's really up to the employees how they.
So it's up to them if they want to.
Yeah, I
So,
never. You
no,
don't.
because if they do the same kind of work and one gets paid
Bit
more
more.
than the
Yeah.
other, then they'll find out.
Yeah.
So that might create the
It
problem too.
might. Yeah.
But it's you as a program manager to explain why,
Exactly.
if there is a conflict there. Yeah. So it didn't happen yet,
No,
right?
it didn't happen.
Maybe your company is good and they pay everybody the
Yeah.
same. Okay, that's good. So anyway, is there anything I didn't understand about the job of a program manager that you want to explain to someone who might want to get into that profession?
So I'd say that program management is a very special kind of area to work in.
Yeah.
It's evolving, it's growing in
Yeah.
today's day. Company to company, the role really is different.
Yeah.
Some companies are looking for someone who's a program manager who performs the role of a product manager and a project manager. Other companies are looking for someone who is kind of just trying to help with agile framework and Scrum and helping teams kind of improve their processes. Other program management roles are solely like
Social.
like engineering manager roles where they're
Okay.
actually managing the team and stuff
Okay.
like that. So the role is very it's evolving on a day-to-day basis, and I would say if you're kind of interested in that, you kind of look at the company and what stage the company is at. So if it's a company that's established, I'm sure the program management role is very defined. It's probably you're working as a product manager and the project manager, and you're working with the team, a single team. But if you're actually at a company that's scaling up, like Thousand Eyes is, your role changes on a week to week, day to day basis. Sometimes you're working with the leadership staff. Sometimes you're working with a single developer. So understanding what you want, whether you want flexibility and this, I can kind of wear different hats on a day to day basis, or kind of work as one role, is what I'd say to look at as, in terms of program management.
Okay.
Yeah.
But as a program manager, you are more the social part of the project than the actual coding of the project.
Yeah.
Are you not at your computer like 5 hours a day? You're more like on the floor. Is that it?
Right. I mean, I am at my computer a lot because I need to. A lot of my like day to day work is documentation, like thinking about what I'm gonna do, creating a plan, like creating an action plan, talking to people. So I'm in meetings all the time. That's when I try and be as most impactful as possible.
Yeah.
Making meetings more efficient, and then yeah, that's kind of my day to day.
So you're not a coder, so you don't have to be at your computer.
I don't know,
Okay.
but I do use it. Like I do, I am at my computer a lot.
Okay, because you have to look at your agile thing.
Exactly. I need to look at what the team is doing and stuff like that. Yeah.
So can you look at what they're doing?
Yeah, I can see like exactly what they're working on, where it is, like how much progress has been made, and it's done through using these different tools, like these different project management tools that are available.
But it doesn't need to be daily. I mean, you can measure at the end of the week, for example.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like some teams who measure weekly don't really understand their progress on a day-to-day basis. If you're able to look at your board and like your progress on a day-to-day basis,
It's better?
it's more. Yeah, exactly.
Oh. But you cannot speed it up from one day to the other. You cannot say to the team, hey, you gotta work faster.
But it's not necessarily to say work faster. It's to see where people are struggling on a day-to-day basis. So say I'm working on something, I get stuck. Now I don't know how to work on this. How am I gonna get help? If there's no update, or if there's no like daily time where we all get together and look at the
Oh,
board,
who has a problem?
exactly. Then
Oh.
how will I even
How
talk to
will
someone?
you know if there's a problem?
Exactly.
So it's like debugging.
Yeah.
Debugging daily.
Yeah, and it's
Kind of.
actually there's a term for it. It's called the daily stand up.
Really?
Yeah. So everyone stands up because this meeting isn't supposed to be too long. Usually lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. Everyone stands up together and talks about exactly what they did yesterday, what they're going to do today, and if there any impediments,
Any problem.
problems. Exactly.
Oh, and if there is a bug in their program, then they'll ask the help of the next coder.
They'll ask someone to help. They'll be like, "Oh, I need this done this way. Can someone tell me what to do?" And then they'll be like, "Okay, after the meeting, let's get together and talk about it."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So there is not like that spirit of competition or anything. It's
No.
just a spirit of helping.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
This is good. That's good. So your job is actually to facilitate that spirit.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and to facilitate people helping each other,
Yep.
and then feeling good about it. So, of course, at one point, one of them is gonna get promoted because he's the best, right?
Yeah.
But but that's not the goal, right?
No.
Yeah. So anyway, you explained to me very well what is the role of a program manager. It looks like fun. Looks like you can make it fun.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You can even add, games and stuff, and to bring people to relax a little bit. So everybody also has different interests, different hobbies, different, and they can relax their own way, kind of
Yep.
thing. So anyway, I hope you keep enjoying your present position, and that you'll get the most out of it.
Yeah, hopefully.
And the ideal situation for you would be to work in a big corporation or a smaller one.
I would like to kind of experiment. I don't know yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. I think so far I've kind of worked in a smaller and then a medium and then almost a medium to large.
Oh.
So I haven't ever worked for like a really big corporation yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'd like that, but who knows? Maybe I would. I haven't tried it yet.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So right now you're at the stage in your life where you want to know what's going on at each level.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here. I hope I was not too tedious in my questions, and hopefully when you finish your internship, you'll be ready to be a fully ready
Yeah.
program manager. Thank you so
For
much.
sure. Thank you. That was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you.
That was fun. Yeah.
Thank you.